Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. My name is Ms. Genevieve Besigan, and my report is about Research Locale. Okay, Research Locale, the word locale, it comes from the word location is derived from the word locale, which means that a place where something happens. So, therefore, the research locale refers to the setting of the study. Kung saan ba or ano ang sakop ng iyong study when it comes to location. All right. So it refers to the specific geographical location or setting where the study is conducted. And it helps the researchers or us to define the boundaries and context of the research. So when you set the locale of the research, it helps us that it sets the boundary for us na hindi tayo lalagpas doon sa specific place na sinabi natin where our study will be conducted. All right. So there are two types of research locale. We have the laboratory studies and then we have the field studies. Okay. So let's differentiate. The first one, laboratory studies, it has the word laboratory on it, which means the setting of the study will be in a laboratory. So a laboratory, it's a closed space and which is very controlled that no other external factors can alter the outcomes of your research. So it's very like if you're gonna do a science research, then a laboratory study will be more helpful because it's very controlled. You can easily control the independent variable. So all the other studies that are not conducted in a laboratory are called field studies. So the field studies are the ones that are, I should say, more applicable to us as teachers because this is our this is our work. We work at most of us work at schools, so this is the real life setting. Okay, let's give more or let's explain it more. So laboratory studies are conducted in controlled environments such as research labs or specialized facilities. So this picture is an example of a research lab where it's a very controlled environment. So why do we conduct or why is it necessary that some studies should be conducted in a laboratory and not just in any field? Okay, let's take a look at this. So when it comes to setting, the main keyword here is the word controlled. Okay, so it allows the researchers to manipulate variables and create specific conditions. All right, specific. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you're conducting a study about, you want to conduct a study about watermelon, pakwan. So you want to think or you want to research about what are the factors that makes a good harvest of watermelon. Paano ba tumatamis ang pakwan? Let's say you want to figure that out. In that case, you can conduct a laboratory study. So you can say that, is it the water? Is it the sunlight? Is it the nutrients from the soil? So in that case, you can alternate the variables one by one for you to figure out which one affects like the sweetness of the watermelon. Okay? And in this kind of research or study, you cannot do it in any other field kasi hindi mo makokontrol ang other variables that can affect your research. So let's say, hindi mo siya, you want to know if it's the water that affects the sweetness of watermelon. So let's say hindi mo siya tinidiligan to see if it works or you don't water it often. But you never know. If you do it outside, paano kung umulan? or bumagyo. So that's beyond your control. That's why there are laboratories so that you can choose the variables as you think would be suitable for your study, which leads to the second factor here, which is control. So the researchers can control extraneous factors and establish strict protocols for data collection. So when we say extraneous factors, it means all the other factors or variables that you do not want to affect your research. All right. And the other good thing about laboratory study is its replicability, from the word replicate, or to be able to do it again under the same conditions. So we need to be able to replicate our study para alam natin kung valid ba or reliable ba ang ating findings. Alright? So, hindi naman, we cannot make a research and say that if it happened one time, it's going to happen again. So, especially in science research, we have to do something for several times, and if the results yield consistency, then that's when we can like conclude something is reliable. So in a laboratory, it would help you to do something or the same thing again and again. And then it also enables other researchers to do it as well. And the last one is precision, of course, because in a lab, there are specialized instruments, equipment, and it's just that it can help you to get a precise findings. So let's compare the laboratory studies to the field studies, which is what we would be conducting, I guess. So the setting of a field study is in real world settings, such as natural environments, communities, or workplaces, or in our case, schools. Okay, so it's not in a lab, it's outside, so it's in the real world, and it has ecological validity, which means that whatever the results you find, it's applicable in real world context. So kung anong result ang makita mo, it's more likely what's going to happen in the real world. All right. In a way, it's complex because there are other variables and factors that can affect the outcome of your research that will be beyond your control. So kung ang laboratory study is very controlled, in a field study, there are many factors that you might not be able to control, and that's okay kasi it's it's a real world setting, right? And that's what we want. If we're studying about students or teachers, they work in a real world. So we want to see real world context results. And last one is it offers naturalistic observation. So it aims to study phenomena in their natural context without significant manipulation. All right. So field studies, which is what we would tend to do, has some types. Okay. So it's more like the local is more like from maliit na sakop palaki. So we start with the local setting. So it's conducted in a specific local area such as a city, town, or village, or in a just one school. Okay. So here's an example of a title. So this is a paper that we wrote I wrote when we were in college. So it says correlation of students' mathematics and English abilities in San Pascual National High School. So just by reading the title, you know that the locale of the research is in San Pascual National High School, which is just one school. So local, maliit lang siya, maliit lang ang sakop. So going on a bigger scale, we can go regional, which can be in the from the word region. Okay, so that's a larger area. So example here, it says region 4A. Then we can go bigger and we can go on a national setting, which means the research that you're going to conduct is para sa entire nation or country. All right. So here's an example. And then by looking at the title, you can say looking at the last line, it says teacher practices across Philippines. So which means the whole Philippines ang sakop niya. And the very last one is international setting, which means that more than one country is being the subject or the place for your research. So here, look at this, across the United States, Japan, and the Philippines. So it's just more than one country. So going over it again, when we say research locale, we're talking about the setting, and then it helps us set the boundaries of our research. So the next topic for our group will be participants, which should be discussed by Miss Patricia. Thank you, everyone.